So this video is going to be a comparison of sorts of two different systems that were out around about the same time. The first is Milton Bradley's Microvision, which was basically a gaming system. There's the actual thing itself. That's one of the games plugged in. Came with cartridges. That came out in 1979. About 1 or 2 years later, 1980, 1981, the Children's Discovery System came out. This was admittedly more educational in nature. There's things about fractions and math and things like that. But they had a couple of cartridges of arcade action. And so what I'm going to do is try to compare these two systems and talk about which is better. I do want to be clear that I am going to be focusing less on the Microvision. It was a much more popular system. There's a lot more videos and knowledge about this one. So I'm kind of basically assume that you are aware of this. And just to keep the video from being super long, most of my focus is going to be on the Child's Discovery System, and then at the end kind of wrap it up and say, well, hey, here's a comparison, here's what I think. So a very quick review of the Microvision. Came out in 1979, retailed for $49.99. And again, it was for games. It did not pretend to be educational. There were 12 cartridges. I have 11 of them. So a slightly closer look. This is the cartridge, and the actual ROM cartridge was in there. This was just a window. The LCD screen was actually right here, and a touch-sensitive pad that, again, corresponded to this was here. So I'm going to show you Blockbuster, which is basically Breakout, the version of it. You could control things like how many balls, the speed of the ball, and the size of the paddle. It basically uses relatively small LCD screen. If you get one of these now, they're really subject to what's called screen rot, where you might even hear the game playing. Well, you can't see anything because the LCD screen goes wrong. There is somebody selling replacement screens. I'll try to leave a link in the description below. I am the paddle, obviously, at the bottom. You can see, again, it's a basic paddleball game operating like you'd expect it to. I remember playing this at school on our lunch periods. We gobbled down our lunches, and David Skolin had this. I was super jealous, and I just thought this was fantastic. I could not believe how good this was. See, at this point, it's quite primitive, but again, it was, I think, arguably one of the first handhelds, especially a handheld with removable cartridges. Another one that I liked was Phaser Strike. Again, there's, of course, some variables, but you'll get the idea here that this is a target shooting game. So I can shoot from 3 different places, left, right, middle. And I'm trying to hit the moving target. Another one that I'm partial to is bowling, but the ball's going back and forth, and I'm trying to, oh boy, get a strike. Or a spare like that. Baseball in many ways is excruciatingly primitive, but it ends up being kind of interesting. So there's the ball being pitched. Out. I am the bat down here, turning this knob to swing the bat. Alien Raiders is really fun. You're going to see that I am a spaceship kind of on the left, and I have to fire, and I have to control the length of my beam with the dial to try to get aliens that are coming after me from the right. Other games are slightly sillier. Pinball is kind of like Breakout, but these little red circles are theoretically bumpers on a pinball table. Connect 4 is a electronic version of the Connect 4 game, Vegas slots, whatever. A couple of strategy games that are a little bit more complex and probably too complex for this quick video. But in general, there's some decent games. Again, everything's blocks, right? These are simple 1979 LCD screens, so everything is little blocks. Super simple graphics. So for 1979, this was high entertainment. This was definitely something we'd not seen before, and it was very exciting. So this is the Children's Discovery System from Mattel. Most of these things are copyrighted 1980, 1981. This is the box, obviously, for the original system. Here is the computer, if you will. It does have 3 built-in games. They call it modes: music mode, art mode, and type mode. So even without anything else, you can use it. It does have a really full, pretty well done instruction manual. There are numerous cartridges, volumes, games. Again, it's an educational system, so you're going to see that these are definitely not all games. This is an example of one. This would be a box that you would get it in, and you're going to see that it would have a place for the cartridge, for the overlay, and for an activity book, which gives you instructions. Pretty well done. Cartridge itself, which plugs into the system right here. So the overlays slide right in. Slide under one side, you gotta kind of bend it, get it under the other little notch there. Sometimes it will stick up like that. You gotta make sure you get under the 2 edges here. So here are the different modules, and that is what they call them, fun modules. So again, discoveries in math, arcade action, words, discoveries in art, discoveries in music, words 2, arcade action 2, memory and logic, geography, foods, fractions, and science. So you can see there's definitely a educational nature to this. I'm sure that was a selling point to parents. In terms of the modules themselves, it looked like they typically cost around $11, though again, discounted heavily from $22.99. When I got this off of eBay, it was complete in box. You're gonna see that it was bought from a cool place called Toy World, originally $69.88, on sale for $49.99. The age range is blocked off there, but it is for ages 6 to 11. It is by Mattel, and it requires 6 AA batteries, though you can get a power saver sort of thing, a plug-in device. Computerized learning system. That's fun by itself, even more creative when mom and dad join you. You get a little bit of the back here. So this is the top, and there's nothing on the bottom. Interestingly, it calls it the child's programmable computer system. I don't know about programmable. So when I think about programmable, I think, I can write a program in, BASIC or something like that, like I could on an Apple IIe or a Commodore 64. I am not actually aware that this is programmable, so I'm not sure if it just meant by putting in different cartridges you could get different programs. So we're going to take a closer look at the 2 arcade cartridges for the child's discovery system. This one is the first one, and it's cartridge number 2. It's got racers, golf, and push-off. And this one is the second one, arcade action 2, and it's got target action excitement for computer arcade games. So this is the first one, where you press on, and it asks you if you're going to start. Well, I would have turned it on if I didn't want to start. I'm not sure. There's the cursor man. Cursor the Great, to be exact. So 3 games. We're going to play runners first. And you can play against the computer, 1 player, or you can play against a friend, 2. So I'm going to play against the computer. And then it will ask you whether you want to be easy or hard. We're going to start with easy. And then the game starts. So I am the top runner. I'm trying to get to the finish line, which goes on and off, blinks on and off. I can only press the run button when it's blinking. Let go. And it goes for different lengths of time. On easy, it's pretty consistent. So I'm going to keep running after it goes off. You'll see what happens. I won't go anywhere. Okay. Okay. Now try to run for real. So I won. So that's pretty easy. But now we're going to play it on hard, which is a little bit more difficult. So on hard, it doesn't just freeze me if I press it at the wrong time. It actually sends me back to the beginning. So here goes hard. And the other guy starts halfway through. See, I made a mistake there. So I lost, and you actually can lose. If you make a mistake, you pretty much lose. So that is runners. So the more difficult version is a little bit harder. Nothing crazy, though. So now we're going to play golf. And to me, golf is the most enjoyable game. I'm going to play one player. And here you're just trying to beat your own score. So tee up. So here are the 4 keys you're using. Tee up to start each hole. All right, so this is the first hole. And this line, believe it or not, is representing the hole. And what you're trying to do is kind of go along this, but not go too far. And you're going to use either the wood, the iron, or the putter, okay? So right now, I'm going to press wood for a certain length of time. Hold it for about a second, and you'll see what happens. So I held it too long, okay? Gonna do it again. Okay, so I held it for about half a second. That's how far it went. So now I'm gonna actually use an iron. And again, I gotta, in time, figure out, oh, maybe another half a second. Okay, that wasn't far enough. So I'm doing the iron again. So now I'm close. I'm gonna do the putter. And so that took me 7 strokes. So this is a much longer hole. So I'm definitely going to do the wood for probably almost a second and a half. 0 and 1 and. So there's a little bit of skill. Iron for 1 1/2. Or not 1 1/2, about 1. There you go. Putter. So that time I got a par 3. That was pretty good. So that's golf. And it does take some skill. And it's kind of like the real game of golf. To consistently do really well, you got to get a feel for it. Okay, I'm on the 18th hole. My last time I played, I got a 78, so I just got to beat 8. Hopefully I can do that.
Do that 1 seconds there. Okay, quick iron, I guess. Putt. Oh, come on.
So I'm done. I got a 75. So I improved from 75 to 78. I got 1 hole in 2. I got a couple par 3s and, you know, some poor ones. So that is kind of challenging. So I enjoy that one. So we'll finish with the last game, push off. So this is you. This is a friend. This is really a 2-person game. These walls are coming in from the side, and you're trying to push that person, the opposite person, into the wall. You can only push when this little symbol shows. So you use this push button. So if I'm this guy, gotta let go. He's pushing me. I push. The walls are getting closer, obviously. So there's less margin for error. So I pushed him into the pit and he died. So it would be better to play that with somebody than to play by yourself. All right, so I'm going to play with my daughter, who is very excited to be here, of course. And we're going.
So yeah, I'm pushing when the arrow is showing. Push, 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 push. Oh boy. Oh boy. Uh-oh. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on sometimes. So, oh, she's fighting out of the pit. Oh, I was holding it wrong. I was holding it down. Uh-oh.
She's fighting back from the brink. Where's my arrow? Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Where's my arrow? Oh, so now we're going to take a look at Discovery and Arcade Action 2, the other set of games. So this is obviously the box, the book, and the overlay, and the cartridge I already have in there. And there's Cursor the Great, trademark. So basically there are 4 games here, and they all are pretty similar. It's kind of a target shooting. It's a little bit like Breakout, but as you'll see, they're different. So this one's called Armada. This one is called Blast Out. This one is called Mad Dash. And there's one where you essentially make your own target that's called Hit It. So I'm going to do the one that looks like it might be Breakout. That's called Blast Out. So it's going to ask you for what speed you want. The speeds can range from 1 to 8, with 1 being the slowest and 8 being the fastest. For the purpose of the demonstration, I'll do 3. That's going to ask you the level. The level basically in this particular game especially has to do with how long you have to complete the target. Basically what you're trying to do here is you're going to see in a minute that there's a target. You're trying to get rid of all of it. The faster you do it, the more you can move up in the levels. The levels go from 1 to 18. You can only start at levels 1 through 8 though, and the faster you get rid of a target, the more you can move up. So I'm going to do level 8 at this point. I was going to say player 1, level 8. There goes Curse of the Great to clear the screen. So what you're going to have here is these are the targets. They look like walls, and here's your cursor. Again, moving relatively slowly, okay? And there's only one control here. The only thing you're going to do is press this arrow. When you press it, the cursor's going to move. So I pressed it, and it's going to go across. And as you see, it bounces back. And I'm going to show you the rules for bouncing in a second. So it's going to keep bouncing, keep hitting those things. And what I have to do is block by block by block, I got to get rid of all of those. There's a couple things you can do, though. So this is now bouncing at an angle. Okay, and like you will with breakout, it'll get trapped after a while. I can make it go straight again by pressing this arrow. So again, right now I'm going to press straight, and if I hold it, it'll actually keep going. It just busts through. I let go, and it will bounce around. So I'm going to be able to get a fair amount. See, it's going there. So I'm going to actually press straight again to make it go back so I get a bounce. Okay, and at any point I can press that straight arrow if I think it's advantageous to helping me get more pieces out. So the basic rules of the bounce is when the cursor hits off the top, the back, well, again, actually, I guess this would be probably the front. The top, the bottom, the front. It bounces off at the same angle it hit. So I think it's typically a 45-degree angle. What you're going to see is if it hits off the back, it'll go random. It'll bounce randomly. Just like when it hits a block, it goes randomly. So you have to take that into account. So I'm going to press the arrow and hold the arrow. And it'll go through all 3 of those, letting go. So it's doing pretty well in terms of trying to clear some stuff. And again, remember, I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible. So the game's advanced a little bit. And so you heard that beep. That means that time is advanced. I'm not moving quick enough. And I got to clearly clear the screen, or else I will actually potentially lose a level. So I can still, I think, advance 1 level here. But I'm doing poorly. So I have it lined up. I'm going to let it bounce off. Straight arrow. I missed it. I'm trying to line it up at this point. So that's going to miss something, so I'm going to just have it quickly go back. Going to make it go straighter, go a little bit faster. Going to have it go straight through. So I ran out of time there. Okay. If I want to play again, I'm going to press 1. And it's going to tell me I'm at level 7. So you get the idea of it. And again, obviously the lower levels are easier because you have more time. Alien Armada. And this one's slightly different. So it's going to ask me the speed again. I'm going to do 5. The higher the level you do, the more ships that you'll have to clear. So I'm just going to do level 1 here. There should only be, I think it's 5 ships. You have to use 3 keys. These 2 to start, and then this to make it go straight. So this is, again, slightly different, and it's not going to bounce. So right now, it's going up and down. When I'm ready, I have to press one of the diagonal keys. So I'm going to press the up diagonal. It starts to bounce up. When I think it's lined up, I press the straight one, and it's going to knock that guy out. So I'm trying to basically continue to clear this. And initially, it's easy because the Armada fills the whole screen. But obviously, as I clear it, it's going to get harder. Again, I'm doing this for speed. So the faster I clear it, the better. if I missed it, it would start to move. So maybe I'll just miss it here. Yeah, I missed it. You'll see it moves, okay? And the more you miss it, the more it moves. If it reaches the left side, I will die. So this will become a matter of being able to line it up. So you can see the timing is you know, you got to get there. So you can see it's a little bit frustrating at times. So it's advancing. I'm not doing too great. So I cleared it. Second. So, oh no, just level 2. So I really didn't do much, didn't do very well. So the next one is called Mad Dash and features Curse of the Great. So it is, for all intents and purposes, the same game. I'm going to do speed 7. See how it looks. Level, again, I'm going to do level 4. On this one, you're just using the straight arrow, okay? And again, you're trying to get rid of Curse of the Great. Hold the straight arrow, it keeps going. So there's Curse of the Great. So I can knock off all of his heads there, let it go. Okay, so it's gonna bounce straight back, so it makes more sense for me to bounce it up again. Oh, and again, same thing. There we go, so it's gonna start bouncing around. You might say, well, can't you just let it go? You can, but you won't clear the screen. I tried it once, I just kind of let it go at random and see what it would do, but you didn't clear the screen in time. Maybe at level 1 it would randomly do it, but you do need to some degree, have some input if you want to have a chance of clearing the screen. That's really terrible. Like, I'm missing the whole thing. There's so many rows that I could be getting, but I'm actually doing terrible. So there's my first warning beep. So I gotta get this last one. So there's my second warning. And I missed it. So again, I would not advance a level here. Okay, I cleared the screen, but I would not advance a level. I'd still be at that same level 4. So the last one is you actually type in your own target and you use the letters. So there's all these letters, and you can basically type in any letters and I think even numbers that you want. So I'm gonna type in, and again, you can type in up to 8. So I'm gonna do my first name. Hi. So now I'm gonna press enter. It's gonna ask me the speed again. I'm gonna do 6. Let's try level 8. Again, this is the same thing, just the straight arrow. That's the only key that I control, trying to get rid of those letters. So I'm going to hold it down, let it go through. It's going to bounce around. And there's probably additional strategy here that I'm not aware of. I'm just starting to play this. I'm not an expert at this by any stretch of the imagination. So there is a challenge to it. It's not, it's not crazy easy or anything. So I did not clear it. So again, it's a decent game. It does push you. I mean, there's some skill involved for sure. I do want to mention, it says that you can play with multiple players up to 8. The booklet does give you all the directions. So you can see here the rules about the rebound, some bouncy rules that I talked about, hints. It does talk about warning, times out, what the beeps mean, how you can advance, how you don't advance. There's about the beeps. And because it's, again, educational in nature, it does give you additional games. You're still playing those same 4 games, but it tries to make it so that you're, working on, I think there's ones where you work on spelling. So 3-letter words, 2-letter words, things of that sort. So they try to kind of add some things to it. There's one thing where it tells you to use your non-dominant hand. So there's kind of some relatively lame versions where they take the game and just add some twist to it. So what's the conclusion? Which one of these is better? And again, in full disclosure, I have that nostalgic love for the Microvision, so that's going to cloud my judgment to some degree. And initially I kind of thought, well, this is going to be an easy choice. I'm more interested in games. And even though the screen is definitely smaller, for the Blockbuster, there's a host of games that I enjoy. So again, the Breakout is good. Pinball, bowling, Phaser Strike, Alien Raiders, baseball, and a lot of them you can customize and make them easier, harder, different levels. When you look at the games for the Children's Discovery System, they're not as good, honestly. So there's less of them. Racers is pretty lame. Even on hard, maybe you'd want to do it once or twice. Golf I did enjoy. Push off is, I don't know, semi-ridiculous. The target shooting for the second arcade action 2 is decent. And there's some variations on it that make it at least somewhat interesting. But again, how does that stack up against all of the Microvision games? They're not as good. So if you're looking just to play games, I really would have to say the Microvision is better. And I was going to kind of leave my review there. But then I thought, you know what? If I was going to a desert island and I can only take one of these systems with me, which would I take? And, initially I thought, oh, yeah, sure, Microvision. But then I actually thought, the Child's Discovery System, it actually has some interesting things. It does have some interesting modules in music and art and other things where you could actually discover things, explore things, learn some things. Like some of the booklets are truly, like I was looking at the music one and there's stuff about chords, and so maybe I could figure that out. So in some ways, like there'd be more to do, but some of the modules are less interesting. So there's, Discoveries in Geography, Mystery Nation, okay, Geofacts, Odd Nation Out, maybe. But then we go to Discoveries in Food, Pick a Food, Four of a Kind, Peanut Butter Poker. I mean, they're definitely trying. They trademarked it. I wonder if they made anything off that, Peanut Butter Poker. But then you get to Discoveries in Fraction 2. I mean, this one's unopened, just like the food one. So, like, somebody thought that was so lame they didn't even open it. Even on a desert island, I'm not so sure I would play these. So at the end of the day, going to that desert island, I would at least consider the Children's Discovery System. The games on the Microvision are limited, right? That's a tiny screen. I forget what the pixels are, 20 by 20 screen, but it's small. I mean, it's quite limited. And so in some ways I could learn more and discover more on this. So I don't know what I would do, but in terms of, which is your favorite if you're a game player, it's definitely the Microvision. If you want more holistic way of looking at, games and learning and stuff like that, without a doubt, the Children's Discovery System is your choice. But I would definitely say both are interesting. I'm definitely glad that I bought the Children's Discovery System on eBay and checked it out to learn more about it. It was better than I thought it was. I'd seen a review of one of the arcade games, and they didn't even know what they were doing, and they were just kind of laughing at it. And I don't think it's laughable. I think it's definitely a worthwhile system. I appreciate any questions, comments. If you ever played with the Children's Discovery System especially, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.